And it only seems that IT environments are going to get more and more complex over time, despite the attempts to try to reconcile environments and cut back a little bit. We just can't help ourselves. We always want more services, more capabilities, more apps. And in that regard, one recent funding announcement that got my attention was this little known company called Opkey, which does ERP testing automation. So in practice, they help bring your 7, 8, 10 ERPs together and figure out how to make your processes work in each of those applications through more of an automated testing process. And so they recently raised $47 million. And what I love about this company is that it was not developed by like people on high just deciding to uh, like people with deep, call it SAP, Oracle money in their bank, in their pockets. This was started by a bunch of people who were originally test engineers, and they said, "We see this problem. We are tired of dealing with this manual test issue over and over again." And as someone who did a bit of ERP testing back in the day, I can speak personally to how mind numbing and painful it can be to go through each unit test of each process through an ERP. I'm frankly glad there's finally starting to be solutions in place to help automate this capability and to help with this shift from ERP at this monolithic capability to really this aggregation of best in breed capabilities, which is really what it's become at this point.
I'm chuckling at the statement you made like 3 minutes ago when you started this, where you said that we're not going to go back, and because that was our MO. We would go through these cycles of
Mhm.
expansion, and we'd buy a bunch of stuff, and then we would come back and rationalize everything back down. And I'm chuckling because I'm trying to imagine a CIO walking in today, a new one getting hired and coming and saying, okay, we're going to go through a process. We're going to select one of everything, and that's all we're going to run. Because it just doesn't happen today. It's just
Mhm.
literally impossible. There's just too many different needs and constituencies. And so I think, that's sort of what this is. Opkey is an example of this sort of transition that we're seeing. I mean, I talk all the time to executives about the fact that this is a new state in that the tech stack complexity is only going to increase. We're going to be in a hybrid world for the foreseeable future. I think forever, to be honest, where we're going to have workloads running in all kinds of different environments. And the key is going to be getting visibility into what is going on. And so it's interesting. One of the things that Opkey is talking about in this press release is that they're calling it ERP observability. And honestly, just 6 months ago, I would have bristled at this because observability historically had a very defined meaning.
Mhm.
Log, trace, and metrics, and it was cloud native, and that's what it was. But it's now become sort of code for this idea that we're going to go collect data. We're going to go collect data about your environments, and we're going to use it to make decisions. And I think it's a fair description. So there's a whole bunch of people out there talking about various forms of observability. It's become this hyper buzzword, but in this case, I think it's very appropriate, and I think it's very needed. I mean, I didn't necessarily want to talk about this mostly because I ran a application quality center of excellence for a Fortune 500 company years ago, and I think I still have the trauma from it.
Mhm.
Um, so, you know, automated testing is something that sounds so logical and is so flippin' hard to actually do and execute. And I would actually be very curious to see how well this works today and if they've truly solved for some of those issues. But the need is unquestionable. And I think that it's an interesting space because we all love to hate our ERP systems, and um, if there's something that can actually make it better and make it work. And then the last little piece on this one that I'm intrigued by is that while they're going to market and talking about um, the observability side of this and about testing, they also talk about that the same data gives insight into process performance, business user experience, and error resolution. The error resolution part I'm less interested in, but the experience and the performance are actually really, really interesting because while ostensibly testing was always about those things, in most cases it wasn't. In most cases it was, is it going to break? And so much of what we do now is reliant on delivering an experience that delights our customers, delights our employees, makes things productive, allows things to operate effectively and efficiently. And there's an entire whole set of class of tools out there specific to ERP, in fact, that are focused on end user experience monitoring and management. And it's really interesting to kind of wonder, it's like, are they going to be going there? And is this going to help solve for that as well? Because it's a definitive need.
Yeah, anybody who's been in a large enterprise remembers having to work with a large ERP and having to do this 38-step process to do something. It might be approving a payment or giving an employee some vacation time or what have you, because the ERP forces you to do this as its way of defining the process. So now you have to learn how to work like the ERP. And the idea that we could have some sort of testing that might actually rationalize some of these processes and smooth them out to be, the 5-step process that they actually should be. I like that in theory, and especially if it can make that consistent over multiple ERPs, that's even better. So I'm probably living in fantasy land, even hoping for this. But the idea that we are getting to solutions that are even starting to think about getting towards there is at least progress.
Yeah, yeah. Don't fool yourself. I was one of my clients is a tech company who I won't name right now, but they stood me up as a new vendor, and I have my banking information on my invoice, and they had to send me this email that says, "I need a letter from you with your banking information because we use an automated process to scan our invoices, and we can't pick up your banking information from that, so you have to send it separately." It's like, wow, okay, nice. We're a tech company, and this is where we're at. I mean, this stuff
Yes.
is notoriously difficult. It's, we'll be I don't think any of us have any risk of not having jobs for a while.